Another week of Bears Talk Live here at the Blowing Rock Draft House, presented by J. Brown Realtors. Eric Bach, so happy to be back with you here on a Thursday. Fall sports back in full swing here for Lenoir-Rhyne. It's a great start for everybody. Football got a huge win, 48-7 over Virginia State. Men's soccer, a big win over Florida Tech. Women's soccer, a big win over UNC Pembroke, and they drew last night with North Greenville. Women's cross country won the Fleet Feet invite at Catawba. Women's triathlon team. I'm here with head coach Bryant Howard. What was the highest finishing D2 team at the Pleasant Prairie invite up in Wisconsin and qualified for nationals. Volleyball's on the road to Florida to kick off their season at the Bash at the Beach down in West Palm Beach. So we're rolling. It's a normal year. Things are back in business here at Lenoir-Rhyne. So I'm happy to be joined by head triathlon coach Bryant Howard. Coach, thanks so much for your time. First of all,
good to be here.
Named the first triathlon coach in school history back in January of 2020, a couple months before COVID hit. So now you kind of have a little bit of a normal season going. You had a little bit of a limited spring season, but COVID messed with you just like it messed with everyone. So what does it feel like now for you to just have a normal season? You can kind of just be normal, train normally, and compete in a normal setting.
Well, it feels great. We never stopped working hard and training in the same way we would if we'd had a regular racing calendar last year. But it's nice to have that payoff. It's also, from a coaching standpoint, it informs our training. So to have live competition, we can see where our strengths are, where our deficits are, where we need to get better. And when we go live, you compete just a little differently than even you do in an inner squad or some of the mocked up competitions that we put together in our training day. So it tested us, revealed a couple cracks, things that we need to work on, and it was nice to get that qualifier out of the way too, so we can focus forward towards our big event at the end of the season.
Yeah, let's talk about this past weekend. Went up to Wisconsin. That was a big travel for the team. Taking first among the D2 teams. All 6 of your athletes finished before Drury, who was the second-place D2 team. Before their second athlete crossed the line, all 6 of your athletes were across. So what were you most proud of that performance?
Well, you just hit right on it. Our pack, we're young, so we don't have that, that senior or that fifth year who has the years of experience already in their belt. So we really lean on each other. We work well together. We play off of each other really well and enhance each other's strengths. Our pack is our focus. We feel like it elevates every individual to their highest level of performance where they're at right now. And we came out of the water, our 1 through 6 in 32 seconds. We were really pleased with that. What we want to do is just make sure we're moving that pack farther up in the overall field. But that spread is something I'm really pleased with. We worked well together on the bike. That swim set us up for a really effective bike course. And then, of course, that brings us to T2 and off to the run in good position.
So that kind of brings me to my next question about, obviously, triathlon is about individual performances, but there is a team aspect of it and some strategy as to how the team part of it goes. So can you walk me through that a little bit?
Well, like I said, in triathlon, it's very dynamic. In open water swim, you're going to get knocked around a bit. It's a much more organic environment than being in the pool, so there's things that are just out of your control. So you kind of have to fight, and there's a little bit of luck involved. But when you find yourself next to a teammate, someone that you train with on a daily basis, and you know kind of where their strengths are and how your strengths complement one another, you can help each other, whether it even just be an emotional uplift, but oftentimes some physical way that you can help one another. You come out of that swim, and one of our new freshmen, Francisca Neck, she mentioned that she came out of the water and could see a teammate up the way heading into transition, and she ran just that much harder to make sure that they were together on the bike. In that way, her race day was improved by having a teammate out there. They worked really well together on the bike, and that teammate, Kayla Rabink, who's also a freshman, she was able to be positioned to cover a move when some other D1 athletes tried to break away from that pack. So by having them together, it set one of them up to make sure that she was in a move that potentially changed the race.
I want to talk about Kayla Rabink. That was her first competition. She's a freshman. You talked about youth. What does it mean to have such youthful energy be able to kind of boost you guys moving forward?
Well, it's great. She brings a great work ethic. She's an accomplished athlete. She's a champion from South Africa. She's done a lot of draft legal racing. While she might be one of our new additions, she probably has more draft legal starts than almost everyone else on the team. And it's a unique racing kind of a model that here in the States, there's not a ton of draft legal racing opportunities. So some of our American athletes actually came from either non-draft or single sport racing experience in swimming and running. So to have someone who's got a few starts under their belt adds a little bit of savvy, a little maturity, even though she's a freshman. She's aged well as a triathlete, you might say, and kind of matured a little bit beyond her years, and she did a great job.
So nationals are in Arizona in November. You guys have punched your ticket. That is a done deal. It's got to be a big weight off your shoulders on the first event. We talked a little bit before the show. It's a little bit of pressure to have a qualifier in your first event, but it's got to feel really good that you're going to be there in the big dance at the end.
Absolutely, and there's this year is a unique year in terms of qualifying. In terms of ranking a team and getting individual athletes in there for individual athletes who aren't part of a qualifying team. So we wanted to just kind of make sure that we were in position to nab some of those spots, if not as a team. But we're really pleased to come out, and in your first race to have this much on the line is a little bit tough. To have people that haven't raced in college before, and even the gals that came back from last year, they're technically still freshmen. We didn't have an NCAA season. We got to do a couple of races last year, but nothing like what they experienced this week in terms of the depth of the field, and to have something really on the line. So to have a lineup that's led top to bottom by people that are experiencing this stuff in real time for the first time, they stepped up and like you said, getting that kind of off of our back so we don't have to worry about it. For the next 8 weeks now, we can take what we learned from Pleasant Prairie and use it to get ready for Tempe and have a couple of kind of trial races in there to play with some team tactics and work on some individual stuff.
You kind of led me to my next one. What's the next step? Now, you have a good foundation of where you are after one event, but what in your mind is the next steps that you guys can take in your development?
The biggest thing is just getting 100% healthy. We had to leave one of our captains home. Andy Capers was nursing a bit of an injury. She wasn't race ready, and this next weekend we're going to put on an event with a couple of our nearby rivals here in North Carolina and bring her back to competition and hopefully work our lineup back to its strongest version. And every time we get a start, we get better. Going through at race effort, the intensity of it, the pace of it, all the skills that you have to execute at race effort, it's just different. It's hard to replicate that. So we're going to have an event here, a super sprint that we're going to host, and then in mid-October we're going to head over to Virginia for another big race. It's going to be a full field, probably 75 to 80 athletes on that start line, so it's going to be crowded. And so we're going to get a chance to test ourselves again against some of the top teams in the country. And at that point, we're going to be looking towards our taper and being the best version of ourselves from a health standpoint in November.
Head coach Brian Howard of Lenoir-Rhyne Triathlon. Bears off to a great start. They qualified for nationals, and they'll be in Arizona in November. Coach, thank you so much for your time. Absolutely. We'll be right back with head football coach Mike Jacobs here on Bears Talk Live.
What does unlimited mean to you? At Carolina West Wireless, it means unlimited media, unlimited fun, and unlimited access to our nationwide high-speed network. Sign up today for an unlimited data plan and pay just $35 per month per line for 4 lines. And we'll include hotspot and big-time savings on a new smartphone. Take $350 off the revolutionary new Samsung Galaxy S20 and get more out of your unlimited. Expect more, get more. Only from Carolina West Wireless.
Welcome back to Bears Talk Live, presented by J. Brown Realtors here from Blowing Rock Draft House in Hickory, North Carolina. Happy to be joined by head Lenoir-Rhyne football coach Mike Jacobs. Big opening week win for the Bears, 48-7, went up to Virginia, took care of business. And Coach, we talked last week about how, there was so much expectations through camp, and you're talking about winning and being good, but how good did it feel to just go up there and just take care of your business?
Yeah, it felt great. I thought our kids, after a long training camp, the first training camp in 2 years, did a really nice job with a long trip up to Virginia. Thought we traveled well, and then certainly to play up or to show up and play well was a great thing for us.
So we talked a little bit about the offensive line last week, but that first test passed, 190 yards for Dwayne McGee, 3 total touchdowns. Grayson Willingham had clean pockets the whole game. Can you talk about it's a youthful group, and you talk about their performance in the opener?
Yeah, I was proud. Certainly challenged them coming out of our scrimmage in fall camp to be a little more consistent and certainly finish blocks a little better. We have a ton that we need to work on and get better at, but I thought they came out and really probably the strength of Virginia State's team was their D-line. I thought their one DN, number 22, and the defensive tackle, number 57, are both good players, seniors who had played a lot of football for them, and I thought we did a pretty good job with those kids.
So, there was an opportunity late in the game to get some younger guys and maybe less experienced guys. Are there any newcomers that stood out to you?
Yeah, there wasn't anybody that really, a lot of the kids that played that are younger were kids that had played for us in the spring. There's a handful of guys that got their first college game action that night, but a lot of them were in, kind of auxiliary roles or on special teams.
So a defensive line was dominant as expected. I mean, that's the strength of the team, but it's got to feel good to know that night in and night out you can just rely on those guys to be in the backfield every play.
Yeah, it's our deepest position group. Again, I thought we showed up and we played well. We were able to rotate quite a few players in there in that defensive front line, and really it goes into the entire defense. Everybody's involved in stopping the run. We held them to 58 yards rushing on the day, and that forces the team to be one-dimensional, and they have to throw it when they're not ready. I think they were 2 of 14 on third down, so their lack of rush yards as well as the third down percentage, I thought we played really well on defense.
A lot of things that coaches look for in first games: execution, protection of the football, limiting penalties. I think all of those things checked all those boxes in game one. Would you agree?
Absolutely, yeah. I think we only had 3 penalties on the night. One of them was more of like an aggressive football type play.
Which you're going to be good with.
Yeah, which you're all right with.
Yeah.
And so to limit it to only 3 penalties, to again do well stopping the run, to run the football pretty well. We won the time of possession. Kind of those game in and game out parameters that usually indicate a good night. We hit all those.
So Trey Luttrell was named the Ronnie Lott Heavy Hitter of the Week. You could hand out weekly awards every week. Southside Power and Fitness will make a donation to Habitat for Humanity in honor of Trey. But can you tell me a little bit? He's just such an energy guy. Obviously, he's versatile. He plays on special teams, is a big part of the offense in the slot. But can you just talk about his energy and what he means to your team?
Trey's fantastic. Like you said, he's like a golden retriever, man. That guy's never had a bad day, I don't think. He works really hard in practice, which you'd expect. He's a coach's kid, and so he does a lot of things the right way. He's always on time. He works super hard. He's got good practice habits, and then it shows up in the game. It shows up in special teams. His willingness to kind of do whatever it takes to help has earned him more touches in the offense, and I think that he's a guy that's just going to continue to grow in his role.
2 freshmen that were here in the spring, Dwayne McGee and Andre Jefferson, were the offensive and defensive players of the week. It's got to feel good for you to have these guys that have played some football but are performing at such a high level so early in their careers on both sides of the ball.
Sure, yeah. Dwayne's kind of proven time in and time again for the 5 or 6 games that he's played for us now that he's an exceptional running back and a kid that runs the ball really hard. He's not just a speed guy or a power guy. He does a lot of things well. He's grown in his pass protection. There's still some growth needed to be done there, but he's certainly been very consistent for us. I think we've added depth to the offensive backfield with Jace Davis, and Kane Cruz is a senior that's in that group, and a few other guys. Daquan Sturdivant's a guy who played in his first game action that had 5 or 6 touches in the game. So that whole group pretty proud of. And then Andre is a kid who earned his first start as Dan Luba comes back from his foot injury. Andre earned his first start and really played well. Was unblockable at times, and again, similar to Trey, it's a kid that you see have really strong practice habits. He's kind of only got one speed, and sometimes you need to pull him back and slow him down, but I'd rather do that than have to beg him to go fast. So super happy and super proud of him for the way he played on Saturday.
I want to talk about your quarterback. He's sitting over there, and we'll talk to him next. He's been here longer than you have.
Absolutely.
So how much have you learned from him about this program? And talk about your working relationship with Grayson Willingham.
Yeah, I think we have a good relationship. I by no means am a quarterback guru.
Yeah.
I'm a line guy by nature, but I think we both have a great appreciation for what it takes to win. I think he's been an unbelievable leader for us, through the pandemic, through an extended year, to stay consistent and stay a part of the program. He's a guy that could have gone on with the rest of his life. He's had several job opportunities outside of football, and so to stay and realize that we may have something special in our hands this year, and to really be that strong, consistent leader for us has been fun to watch. And then, I think our offense suits his skill set very well, and I think he's having a really good time playing football and throwing the thing around the yard a little bit and doing things that he's really comfortable with.
Shifting the focus forward, a little bit of an unusual situation to have a bye week in week 2. That was a scheduling quirk that was outside of LR's control. But what is your plan? I mean, you're going to have a Saturday off in September during football season. How are you going to spend it?
Probably with my family.
Yeah.
I'll be tuned into the Newberry game.
Yep.
I think Newberry plays, I think they play North Greenville this weekend, so we'll certainly take a look at that. I may sneak a peek at my Buckeyes play in Oregon at noon, and then I'm going to spend some time with my wife and my boys. But, nothing we want to get accustomed to after last fall is having too many
Right.
Saturdays off. But, it's hard to get time with your family, so certainly looking forward to it.
What's the normal process for a bye week? Do you work on yourselves more than you work on the other team? What's the balance between evaluating yourselves and evaluating the next opponent?
Yeah, I think a lot of it depends on what the next opponent does.
Sure.
If there's very similar stuff, then we're going to go good on good quite a bit. We do that anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I think full speed reps, even if it's not against the exact look you may see, oftentimes elicits better response from your players, and I think you get more out of practice. So, we'll have a full week of practice. We'll work to get healthy, guys that are banged up, and then, we'll start to shift our focus here a little bit late. Today's Thursday, a little bit later in the week, to look at a little bit of Newberry, get it going here before we put all our focus on them here Sunday going into next week's game.
There's one thing you'd like the team to improve on for Newberry. What would it be?
We need to be a little more consistent in some of our kick coverage.
Okay.
We had guys that played with tremendous effort, which I think is a really good thing. There wasn't any effort issues, but we need to finish plays. We need to tackle a little bit better in that area. But other than that, again, we were a bit feast or famine. It wasn't all bad. We had 3 tackles inside the 18-yard line that night. So
Sure.
We did some stuff really well. We just need to be a little more consistent in that kick coverage.
Head coach Mike Jacobs and the Bears are off this Saturday. Head to Newberry next Saturday. Home opener is September 25th against Mars Hill. We're looking forward to that one. Coach, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, Eric.
Grayson Willingham coming up next on Bears Talk Live.
Paramount Kia in Hickory. We want to see you driving a new Kia or, hey, a quality pre-owned Kia. We've got a huge selection of new and pre-owned Kias. You got to get to Paramount Kia in Hickory, Highway 70, ParamountKia.com.
Final segment of Bears Talk Live here today, presented by J. Brown Realtors. Save the best for last. Grayson Willingham, QB1 of the Lenoir-Rhyne Bears, off this week. Big win Saturday. Grayson, talk to Coach Jacobs a little bit about you and your decision-making process. You could have left, could have been it in 2020, but you decided to use your COVID year, come back. What was the decision-making process for you in that regard?
Well, thanks for having me, Eric.
Yeah.
And, we have something really special here, I feel like, and it's really a testament to Coach Jacobs and his staff, what they've done and really how they've navigated through, uncharted territory a little bit with the COVID pandemic and everything like that. So we just have, this is a special place, and it's really the people that make it. It's a great environment, great game day environment, and great connections you'll make and networking connections, with alumni and administration and coaches and all that kind of stuff. So, I really felt like I was called to stay and play one more season. So, and I felt like we have something really special going on.
I wanted to talk to you about the transition because you and a lot of the guys that chose the same thing that you did to stay for this COVID year. I want to talk about the transition from one staff to another, and it seems to have been really smooth. It seems to be lots of buy-in from the new staff. So can you tell me about the transition and the way that the new staff has kind of picked up where the old staff left off?
Right. Well, like I said, I mean, they did a great job. It's tough getting a job and not having, a season, the first season, and having to kind of navigate through all that. But I really feel like we're trying to pick up where we left off and even do what we haven't done before, which is a national championship. And I feel like we have the coaches now and the personnel to do that. I mean, I've told many people that this is this is really the most talented team that I've been a part of here, and I'm very excited about what we have. But it's really, again, a testament to what Coach Jacobs and the staff have done. Having and really the team and some of the super seniors help. Some older guys. We have a lot of young talent coming in, so we have a lot of buy-in. But we're really excited about the future.
Well, it probably was pretty appealing to you to come back with all the weapons that you have coming back. I mean, you got Derek Young, who's probably going to be an NFL guy, DeAndre Lester, Dwayne McGee in the backfield next to you. So can you talk about your weapons and how you try to best get the ball to them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they make my job very, very easy. When all else fails, just throw it to an NFL guy, right? So, but Derek's doing a really good job for us. He's a captain this year, too, in a leadership role. He's going to automatically be in that leadership role just because of his status on the field, But, I do have a ton of weapons. Talk about Dwayne McGee.
Yeah.
He's outstanding. I'm not really sure what he's averaging per game. It seems like 150 yards, like 2 touchdowns, but he's doing a really good job. He always brings the juice, and a lot of our younger guys really bring the juice and bring that work ethic every day. And guys like Trey Luttrell stepped up in a big way, and Dre, of course, he's a big threat down the field. So it makes my job easy when you have those guys around you.
So what do you like most about this year's team? I know you've been around a lot of teams here. You said that this is probably the most talented, raw talented team you've been around, but what about this team do you think can push you guys over the top?
I think it's just the connection that we have off the field as well as on the field. When I look back at my career here, I'm going to remember some moments in the games, but it's really going to be about the journey. And there's not really, there is a goal of a national championship, but you're going to remember the journey and those times in the locker room, off the field as well as on the field. And I think we built up a lot of camaraderie, because we faced a lot. So have a lot of teams, through the past year or so. So I think that's really the biggest thing that I enjoy from this team is just the relationships and the connections that we have.
You talked about Derek moving into a leadership role. Obviously, the position you play, you're kind of by default the leader of the offense, but what does it mean to have your teammates recognize your leadership and vote you a captain?
It means the world to me. A quarterback is, in my opinion, supposed to be, the leader on the field and off the field and be vocal. But I think going back to what I was saying about just the connections and relationships, it means the world to me that they would vote me captain and have, that they would want me to represent them, on the field. It means a lot, and I've really enjoyed it because I mean, I wouldn't want to play with, you know, any other squad, to be honest.
Looking forward now, talk to Coach Jacobs about this. It's a bit of an unusual scheduling situation with a bye week this early. So what is your focus for you individually on, is it film breakdown? Is it looking forward to Newberry? Is it just kind of chilling out and just gearing up for a big run through September in the fall?
It is different having a bye week,
Yeah.
second week, but we're going to use it to our advantage. We'll get a jump on next week a little bit earlier. And it's just, we talk about making a deposit every day, coming to work every day, and we really can't we can't afford to take this week off because, you know, we need it and to get better. And Newberry's a really good team.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we're going to have to, you know, really, really prepare for this game, and I wouldn't want it any other way. You know, playing the best, one of the best teams in the conference. So we're very excited. We're not taking any time off, and we're going to enjoy preparing for Newberry and going down there next week.
Do you have any bye week Saturday plans? I mean, there's not been many fall Saturdays over the past few years that you've been available.
I might try to go down because my little brother plays. He goes to Weddington High School and they play Audrey Kell.
Nice.
So I might go try to catch that game on Friday night and maybe see the parents. But I'll just be resting really. I mean, we'll get back rolling Sunday, kind of in our normal schedule. But I'm a big golfer, so I might try to go hit the course if I have some time.
I hit Rock Barn this weekend.
There you go.
That's a good spot.
Beautiful course.
So, speaking of Hickory, you've been here longer than a lot of people. You gotta give me some food recs about where I should go. Present company excluded, of course. We're at a great local spot here at Blowing Rock.
Right. Well, I was honestly gonna say, I mean, it doesn't. I mean, it wouldn't even matter, you know, where we were. I love this place.
Yeah, it's a
you know,
great
I
place.
come here usually after every home game.
Yeah.
With my parents. Love the food here, and it's a great atmosphere, especially out here. Sometimes they'll have some live music and everything. So, but it's great food and great service, and I've really enjoyed coming here with my parents after games.
So that's Grayson Willingham. He's the starting quarterback for Lenoir-Rhyne. Off this week, head to Newberry next week. Folks appreciate him. There's not many Grayson Willinghams that come along very often. So, Grayson, appreciate your time.
Thanks, Eric.
That's Bears Talk Live for today, presented by J. Brown Realtors. We'll be back next Thursday, 12:30, right here at Blowing Rock. We'll talk to you then.